Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Final Fantasy VII Remake playthrough, where we are still navigating the sewers. Fortunately, from here on, it's like relatively new territory.
Yeah, at this point, it's fresh.
Now we're going to the other right instead of just going all the way around.
Yeah. Now let's see what's on the other side.
So, it kind of is a tactical liability for your secret sewer escape path when you decorate all the doors leading to your secret sewer escape path with gaudy, stolen Wutai nonsense.
I will not escape in drabs, Leslie.
Yeah, it's because that's how you know.
I mean, we just passed the way Avalanche marks their secret sewer routes. The stamp graffiti that you see on the walls is there to tell you things. Is there to tell you things that Avalanche wants Avalanche people to know. They use stamp as their call sign because, as Shinra propaganda, you would never expect them to use stamp as their call sign. But yeah.
What is it in Paper Mario Thousand Year Door where the secret entrance literally has secret entrance written over it?
Anyway, these things generally stay put, so it's actually one of the few enemies that you can decimate fairly easy with Eroga.
I was gonna say Arrow actually getting some use.
Yeah, I've started using it a bit more toward the end of the game, but that's because the third tier spell, Eroga, actually does have some stronger stagger potential on that first hit, much like Blizzaga does. So it is a bit more viable once you've leveled it up. It's just the first level spell and the second level spell, but especially the first level spell, are both kind of not reliable at all. Thank God they're still installing vending machines in the sewers.
I mean, maintenance crew got to get some refreshments.
Well, yeah, but just in random rooms throughout, wouldn't they? Like even when
it's probably
even when
closet.
you went through Silent Hill sewers in like 1 and 3, there were areas in the sewers that were set aside that were clearly for the staff, rather than just being rooms that you walked through on your way past one poo gas corridor to the next.
Then you're telling me we're not done?
No, not by
It's a little bit like Final Fantasy VII has stuff going on in its levels that imply that these places have like actual in-universe function, but then they focus more on creating a labyrinthine dungeon, and the actual place that they put those things doesn't make a whole lot of sense anymore.
It's hard to make a dungeon that feels like it's a real lived-in place a lot of the time.
But no, I love that he took the key to the door. It's a one metal door. Just break it down.
It's not that simple.
What do you mean it's not that? What do you mean it's not that simple? Barrett's bigger than the door.
No,
You just
I mean,
break it
if
down.
they could break it down, but if they do that, then Corneo will almost certainly hear them. But
What, the fat man's gonna outrun us?
yeah, actually.
I mean, he probably has like a secret trap door or some other shit. Yeah, it's like the element of surprise we're trying to work on here. The Ninja Turtles.
We are literally trying to get the drop on Don Corneo here, so that we can interrogate him. But we also didn't get rid of. We also are fully aware that we did not kill his pet before, so that might be another worry.
What's his pet again? Is it like...
Abzu.
Abzu, or Apps as it was originally called in the English translation of the first game.
Is that the boss we fought the first time we fell into the sewers?
Yes.
And,
Yes.
Oh, so not only do we have to go into the sewers again, we have to fight the same boss. Sweet. I love reuse.
It's different enough, though.
content.
I get where you're coming from. It is different enough. This time, it's actually kind of.
I mean, I don't mind having the 1 or 2 recurring bosses in a game, as long as it's not like old school Devil May Cry where every boss is a recurring boss, because
Yeah, well, I mean, Final Fantasy had its share of recurring bosses. You know, Gilgamesh in 5 is probably the go-to.
Yeah, but
example.
they're also like actual characters. You know, when it's just
Right.
fighting the same monster over and over again, then I get a little about
yeah.
it.
So as long as the thing in question has a personality or is relevant to the plot in some regard.
Yeah, I mean, or it's just like... I mean, I guess being Corneo's pet's like the lowest possible thing for me, like of, oh, this is a reason why we're fighting the thing over again. You know, it needs to be built up upon. Like, I didn't even remember. I just kind of guessed that, oh, that's the boss we fought last time. I couldn't even tell you what it looks like. Just off of the top of my head. And I mean, granted, if you're playing this on your own, like, actually, instead of doing our commentary where we don't look at these parts for a couple of months in between sessions sometimes, you know, maybe you do remember that boss fight a little bit more because it's more in your brain. But
imagine recording 50 parts in a single session. like Ryan was like,
I mean, I like doing what we do, but not that much.
yeah.
So at this point in the game, the battles do start to get a little rough. They start to sneak up on you with how much damage they can do in the normal battles. And
Oh my guys, doesn't this suck?
it does kind of underline that whatever level scaling system they use to determine the relative strength of the individual enemies from point to point within the game it's pretty effective, because as they get stronger, they don't just get stronger, they also start using new moves on you.
Yeah, see, that's the kind of difficulty scaling I like. It's not just a numbers game. It's entirely different strategies.
Yeah, and I've heard, as far as that goes, hard mode in this game is pretty good. Although, I could do without having items disabled.
that seems like
I
a
don't
dumb
like that about hard
choice
mode
to
either.
me, because
Yeah.
properly using items is, like, I think, part of what makes a lot of RPGs fun. You know, like, finding a use for something like, oh, I don't know, the random grenades and whatever that you find throughout the
I always use grenades when the enemy's like somehow surviving at like 10 HP or something.
But, like, properly getting to use your items, I think, you know, is an element of many RPGs that people don't do. That's why the meme of, oh, I've got 17 mega elixirs at the final boss exists, you know? It's because they didn't ever use any of them. They, instead of using one of their mega elixirs, they backtracked out of the dungeon to heal at the end instead. So yeah. Are items disabled for the entire game or just in battle in hard mode?
I would say just in battle.
I believe it's one of the two. I can't remember which.
Yeah, well, I know you definitely can't use them in battle.
That
but,
does just make an entire subclass of items entirely useless, though. Because, like, you're never going to need to use Maiden's Kiss outside of battle, because Toad's status automatically ends when battle does.
Do any status effects end off after battle?
I don't think there are any.
No, I think they all come off after battle ends.
Yeah.
Which was like that in the original 7, though, to be fair.
I mean, yeah, like, taking damage every step whenever you are poisoned or whatever is never anybody's favorite part of any RPG. So, like, I can understand not doing that.
There were a couple of status effects that remained in effect outside of battle, but they were stuff like Fury and Sadness.
Yeah, the only ones that come to mind is Fury and Sadness. I don't think any status effect.
Those are effects that you would want to have. So
Why do you want to have sadness?
because it basically, all right, basically,
It builds character, Ted.
Fury and Sadness affect your limit break, your limit meter filling. So when you're
Also damage
when
taken.
you're sad, you take less damage, but your limit break fills up super slow. When you're under Fury, you have less accuracy and you take more damage, but your limit break fills up pretty fast. Which, as you can imagine, is pretty useful for characters that you want to use their limit break a whole bunch. I said way earlier in the playthrough that one of my go-to strategies was just to make Aerith extremely pissed off the entire time, so that she'd be using Healing Wind all the time, and I'd get free heals every.
And then she just
turn.
crashes.
It's been
hard
so
and
long
with
since I
sadness.
played the game. Was there any way to put the status on yourself, or did you have to just have an enemy
Yeah.
do it?
Oh yeah,
Tranquilizers
yeah.
and hypers.
The item that cured sadness would also inflict fury on a character that didn't have sadness, and vice versa. So you could just pop one of the items, and basically you're on drugs the entire time.
Neat.
Imagine purposefully tranking yourself.
Listen, I've heard of weirder things. All right.
Like, this goes far beyond just becoming a morphine addict.
It makes me fight better, does it?
Does it? I can't feel the left side of my face.
So is that what's going on in all of the post Final Fantasy VII stuff? Like they just have Cloud on the depressant the entire time?
That might be the case.
Wait, on the
It
depressant?
turns out it's all just a really misaimed prank on Yuffie's part. She like spiked his coffee one morning.
Well, why would she do that, though? We gave her a tranquilizer in the Coast of the Soul ship. Remember, she gets seasick. Well, she gets motion sickness easily. You can give her a tranquilizer. I
Oh
believe,
yeah, you're right.
to soothe her
Maybe
stomach.
she just
'Cause I think she's also blocking the materia.
maybe she just thought Cloud was seasick and too proud to say it.
Right.
I mean, he would be.
Man.
So, you know.
I don't see Cloud.
No, isn't he
hiding
he's motion sick in the back in the flashbacks, right? Like because he's the guy, he's the random soldier in the helmet, actually. Because
Yeah.
Zack is Cloud in the flashback.
Yeah,
And the random soldier is like, oh, I'm motion sick. in the
Yeah,
back of
he
the
does
car,
get
isn't he?
he gets motion sick, and Zack gives him some advice on how to deal with it, which is how he's able to give Yuffie advice about it.
Buck up, nerd.
He doesn't remember, but he remembers Zack. He remembers Zack's advice about how to deal with motion sickness. So
The best way to cure motion sickness is to do some soldier squats.
Yeah. Right in the middle of the truck. Come on. Come on,
One
do it.
soldier squat. 2 soldier squats.
And like Sephiroth just sitting down with his mouth agape. Because you're playing the PC
it always
version.
was kind of ironic with the flippy, sneaky ninja who gets motion sickness.
That's also a very anime trope, is somebody getting motion sick a lot. Like, I don't know if that's just something that's more common in Japan than it is over here, but I don't hear of people having as much problem.
I
with
only ever
motion
get
sickness.
motion sick if I'm looking at a screen for a long time on like a plane or something.
Reading
I
a
get
book
seasick.
in the car will get me motion sick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Reading in general in a moving vehicle makes me nauseous. But I also get just straight up
I've
seasick,
never
too.
like gotten motion sick, but I definitely do get uncomfortable when I try to read in the car, which is weird because I never used to, but it just started happening as I got older.
Just one of those things, sadly.
It's unfortunate because when I'm sitting in the back of the car during a long car ride, that's when I really want to do something like reading, but now I can't, and I don't know why.
So when I was like 8 years old, maybe even younger than that, I was on my way home from visiting my grandparents. They live in Western Pennsylvania. And so from there to Boston, it's like a 14-hour car ride there and back. On the way back once, I was playing Pokemon in the car on my Game Boy Color.
Oh, that's not good.
And I was playing it for a while, and I got sick, and I may or may not have emptied my stomach on my older sister who was in the scene in front of me.
Oh my god.
I can neither
Yeah, I was
confirm
gonna
nor
say I knew
deny.
exactly where this was going.
But, happens once when you're like 7 years old, and now your mother will never let you play your Game Boy in the car ever again. Because it happened one time, and now I'm just sitting there looking at trees for a 14-hour car ride. Oh, but then my brothers gotta play their DS in the car. Oh, it's okay for them.
I mean, it could be worse. It could be on the multiple decade journey it took Hampton and Plucky to get to Happy World Land based on a week ago.
I know, that's right. like the actual date just passed.
Yeah.
Like last week, I think, or
Something like
2 weeks ago. Yeah. I'm so happy for them.
Well, no, then they got there and it was closed due to COVID restrictions.
That's right.
No. Oh, yeah, that was
Fuck it, it's
depressing.
just the Wally World incident all over
Yeah,
again.
because that's depressing because Nintendo World actually did have to shut down due to a COVID outbreak in the area, which is like,
Yeah, and Nintendo's got
Who'd have
Nintendo's
thought?
got a not great look as a result of opening it at the time they did.
I mean, it's just like, who would have expected that having a theme park open with lots of people in it would result in sickness being spread?
Considering how packed theme parks tend to get over there, yeah.
Well, not even just over there, like everywhere.
Not even.
No, but I mean, like,
Yeah, just like it's still a pandemic going on.
they get stupid packed in Japan.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
yeah, it's like I understand that, like, say for like Disney World or whatever, that kind of operation bleeds money if you don't have people in there literally every single day. But at the same time, I don't understand how morally you can keep something like that open in a time like this. Although I suppose if you're Disney, you don't have to worry about that part. So, waka waka.
Oh boy.
You've raised your last Ninja Turtle, Splinter.
I see where this is going, and it's embarrassing.
Look at that. I want Cloud to do the exact same dance.
Someone make a mod when it comes to PC.
Just like his owner.
There we go. Anyway, back here is the locked door to the
So we have to drain the water first.
Yeah, you got to drain the water in order to actually get down there. But
Nonsense. Just get a snorkel.
No, do the Sonic method and just get goggles from Sonic 1 Beta.
Yeah, just put goggles over your eyes. You can suddenly breathe underwater.
Are these at least different areas of the sewer than when we were down last time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All this is All this is new.
Okay.
It's just using the same, obviously, walls and stuff. So
Yeah, it's like aesthetically, it's very similar. That's why it's a little tiresome.
this entire section, by the way, is just a setup for the fact that Abzu has ads now.
Yes. Abs.
Abzu.
Ads zoo, I guess.
But in any case, the Abzu shoats are basically Abzu's babies, and you're going to have to cut your way through them to get to him during the boss fight.
So is Abzu a girl, or is it just produced asexually?
Who knows? Maybe it's a
Yeah.
Jurassic Park dinosaur, like it's both or
Okay.
something. Smack. Man, I killed the enemy next to it, but not him.
Because the mischievous Shopic, on virtue of its different name, has more HP.
Yeah.
You only have to go in the sewer once in the original game, right?
Yeah, and it's
Like-
like
Yeah.
it's
it
like
was a very
two
big
screens,
area.
So
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
the only thing of note there is that, well, you fight the Sahagin for those two screens, and it has, like, I think the steel materials down there.
Yes.
But it's really just a transition area into the train graveyard, which is a transition area, although a memorable one, into Sector 7. Oh!
All right.
Oh! Jeez, these little bastards. Seriously.
All right. Okay. Any other tangents? Do we date the commentary even further by talking about how Super Mario Party got online like 3 years later?
Well, we're not going to be dating it that much, because these parts are going up relatively soon-ish.
A couple weeks.
Yeah.
I think
So, yeah, that came out of fucking
I think my
nowhere.
favorite is someone did a clip from a more recent SpongeBob where it's like, it finally happened. It's all we've ever wanted.
Is it?
I also saw a Powerpuff Girls one of a Super Mario Party. We thought you were dead.
Is Super Mario
I'm
Party
surprised
even
some-
really good?
It's fine.
Okay, it's okay.
The
It's
best
fine.
Mario Party in 10 years.
Yeah. I was going to say, it's like, it's an okay Mario Party. It's so fucking bizarre.
took them 2.5
that they just
years.
randomly throw it online.
2.5 years.
After 2 years,
You know what
its
probably
release.
happened was at the beginning of the pandemic, they were like, nobody's going to be able to play games like Mario Party in person anymore. Maybe
good.
we should.
I'm glad it took them a global pandemic to finally add
realize
online
that
to
you
Mario
can't do
Party.
local for everything. Yes.
Yeah. It took them pandemic to do that, yeah. Great
Yeah.
on
And
Nintendo.
I know I tweeted this earlier today, but just for the video later on, if Nintendo wants to make the easiest money they've ever made ever, just remake Party 2 and 3 and add this online mode, and boom, you're done. Instant 10 million plus seller.
Pretty much, yeah.
So this is another case where the cool guy just can't just tell people that he has personal issues. He's got to stay strong. So he lied to them and said that the bag that
Don't you see how I look? I'm in the emo group. I'm not allowed to have open feelings.
that sounds a little self-contradictory, but the thing is, like, Leslie, his entire thing is that he had this fiance, and obviously she or he or both were too poor to make it work. So she tried to work with. She tried to enter Don Corneo's wife.
She was chosen.
She was chosen, like,
Yeah.
but she had to volunteer before that happened, you know, and the hope was
I'm not so sure about that. I think it was more she was scouted.
maybe.
Because the implication I got was that they wanted to, but in order to protect Leslie, his girlfriend / fiance broke it off to make sure Corneo wouldn't get mad at him.
Right, but the entire point, I think, was because, like, it's expected that if you manage to become Corneo's bride, however temporarily, you get a ton of money for it. But what wound up happening is that she just flat out disappeared. At this point, he's assuming that she was murdered, but there's no confirmation of that, which is why after this whole story sequence is finished, the Avalanche encourages Leslie to actually go look for her and see where she may have ended up. It's only been about, I want to say 6 months since all of this happened for him. So at this point,
Yeah, because I know, like, because Leslie's the only one that really tells us that whoever gets picked as a bride normally doesn't come back or some other thing, and I think he's only basing that off his fiance's experience. But is it ever really confirmed that whoever gets picked as a bride just disappears immediately after?
I think if that happened all the time, people would know about it.
Yeah.
So we don't necessarily know what happened to Leslie's fiance yet.
We probably will later in future games, though.
I think they really just wanted to make Corneo seem more skeevy in this version. Because not that he's not skeevy in the other version, but it's more of a, like, comedy skeevy. And I think they actually kind of wanted him to be like a legitimately disgusting human being in this one, you know?
Yeah.
Less Master Roshi-like and more actual sexual predator kind of vibe. Which I guess, you know, for what they're going for, I think literally works, especially if you need to expand this plot point to be longer, then that's kind of the direction you have to go for.
He still has the comedy aspects, so...
He's still a punching bag. You are right about that.
Kind of, yeah, but he also still has that personality, you know? Like, he's really flamboyant in his mannerisms and his words. He dances around Joker style while making proclamations of how he's already won. That sort of thing. He does all of the stuff he used to do. It's just, in this style, you can't really hide the genuinely cruel aspects of his character, so instead they're playing into them. Oh god damn it, I walked right into the toad gas. And I mean, he's still that weird fat Don who has monsters in his basement, too. That was always going to be weird and funny, and there's no way to make it not weird and funny. And why would you ever want to? You know?
It does, when you do introduce, like, the implications, though, that he, like, you know, that he kills off the people that he's doing for this, and, you know, again, the other sort of very uncomfortable undertones that also implies. It makes the other stuff seem less funny to me, personally, because I'm less likely to laugh at someone who I know does those kinds of things.
It's kind of like, I brought up the Joker as, like, for a reason. Sometimes, like, having those kind of comedy aspects can underline the psychotic nature of things.
The Joker also never... Well, okay, I shouldn't say never, because there's a lot of different iterations of the Joker. But the Joker isn't usually a very sexual kind of character.
Well, yeah.
And the elements where they do kind of make him more like that are parts of what make... are parts of the things that, like, made Harley Quinn turn into effectively a good guy. You know? Because it's like... you know, the Joker appears to me less humorous in any of the Harley Quinn focused stories that you ever see him in because of that implication.
Yeah, that's the thing though. These kinds of characters aren't meant to be like uniformly humorous. There are times where they switch into serious mode, and because they're usually so entertaining, it hits you harder in a way. If that makes sense.
That does make sense, yes.